Our Bible story today is the story of Paul meets Priscilla and Aquila. Paul met Jesus in a blinding light on the road to Damascus. Paul changed from someone who hated Christians to becoming a Christian who spent the rest of his life telling people about Jesus. What's that, Francis John? You were thinking about how acting has brought you and all your friends together. Oh, it has. And you've been able to use it to tell lots of people Bible stories and help them to learn more about Jesus. I know, and people of all ages have been watching you. But it's not only acting the stories that have brought you all together. Oh, what else? Honey, I should have known. In our story today, we hear about Paul and how his job of making tents helped him to meet Priscilla and her husband Aquila, and how together they told people all about Jesus. Are you ready for our story? Our story, Paul meets Priscilla and Aquila. Paul went to the city of Corinth in Greece. There he met Aquila and his wife Priscilla. Priscilla and Aquila and other Jews had been forced by the Roman Emperor Claudius to leave their home in Italy. Priscilla and Aquila earned money by making tents. Paul was also a tent maker, so he went to stay with them, and they worked making tents together. Paul spent time in Corinth telling people about Jesus. Not everyone liked what Paul said, but some people, like Crispus, the leader of the Jewish synagogue, believed what Jesus said, and he was baptized to show he was now a follower of Jesus. After a year and a half, Paul left Corinth, and he, with Priscilla and Aquila, sailed across the sea to the city of Ephesus in Turkey. Later, Paul said goodbye to Priscilla and Aquila and left Ephesus to sail to Caesarea. Like Paul, Priscilla and Aquila told people all about Jesus and how they could follow him. They would invite people into their home to teach them about Jesus. One person they invited was Apollos. Apollos had come to Ephesus to tell people about Jesus, and Priscilla and Aquila invited him to their home so they could help him learn even more about Jesus. Priscilla and Aquila's house became a church. As Paul wrote letters to different people like Timothy and to churches in Corinth and Rome, he reminded them that he, Priscilla and Aquila, were all working together to help people know about Jesus. We heard in our story about how Paul met Priscilla and Aquila and worked with them not only in making tents, but in telling people about Jesus. I wonder what job you would like to have, or maybe had. You may like to close your eyes and think about that now. I'm going to say a prayer. If you want to make it your prayer too, please say amen at the end after me. Dear God, thank you that you used their job as tent makers to bring Paul, Priscilla and Aquila together, and they told people about Jesus. You know the plans you have for me and how you want me to learn more about you too. Amen. What's that, Francis John? You've decided to do some tent making? How are you going to do that? You're going to take some blankets and chairs into the garden and some pegs and make a big tent. Ooh. And when you've finished, you're going to invite all your friends for a picnic and a sleepover. Well, that sounds fun. Well, thank you for joining us today for our story, Paul meets Priscilla and Aquila. We look forward to you joining us again soon. Goodbye and God bless.